Since February 2018, the crack team consisting of an old hipster, a rookie, and Tyrod Taylor's biggest fan record from a secret location in the heart of Scotland. Their aim is to try and dissect all things NFL. If you want their opinion, and if you can find them, this is the American Fitbaw Cast. Welcome to episode 31, and it is Steve yet again with multiple tries at trying to nail the intro. I'm just going to stop talking about myself. Shall I introduce you to my two pals? So first up, now gone multiple episodes without an expletive, so he's clearly making his move towards getting in the Nat Coombs NFL show, I feel. It's Andrew. And next up, the man whose Twitter game is currently worse than the Donald Trump. It's Gav. How's it going?
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, right, good. First off the bat, I thought we'll start totally different. I've got a quick 8-question quiz.
Oof.
It's all playoff and Super Bowl themed, seeing as we're at that point of the season.
You remember that me and Andrew, we don't have the memory of like the first Super Bowl.
Well, I was very clever and I kept it all very recent.
Okay.
I didn't throw for like really weird stuff.
I'll still get most of it wrong.
Okay, let's go. Let's
go with it, right? Let's go with it. So, nice and easy. Tom Brady has how many Super Bowl wins?
So they've been in the last... Is it? So they've been in the last 8...
5.
Yeah, so I was going to say 5 as well. Last 8...
Bingo, you're right. How many rings has he got? 5. Remember the picture of him holding that?
Go. I can hate that guy.
When was the last time the Patriots were in a Super Bowl?
Last year.
Bingo.
Every year.
When was the last time the Rams were in a Super Bowl? Ooh. Now, not Los Angeles, don't worry.
It must have been St. Louis.
The Rams as
well, it was,
yes, it's St. Louis.
Kurt Warner.
Yeah, it was. I thought about putting that question and I thought whether you wouldn't get it or not, whether it was too old.
It's in the football life, isn't it? I can't remember the year.
Yeah, well, he...
I'm saying it would have been like 23 years ago.
No, it's much more recent than that. Kurt Warner quarterbacked the Cardinals to the Super Bowl in 2008.
Really?
Yes.
I thought he was older than that.
So I'm going to go for...
I think it was near the end of his career.
It was near the end of his career. I'm going to go for 2002.
Oh, boom! Nailed it. Well done.
Oh my god, what just happened?
I don't know, I'm just astounded. Well played. This has already made me feel better about this episode.
We know things.
Question 4. Tom Brady won his 4th road playoff game, tying in with which infamous butt-fumbling quarterback?
Mark Sanchez.
It was correct. He has 4 playoff wins. All 4 were on the road. I couldn't actually find a list of most road wins, but the fact that it's taken Brady now just to equal that...
Tom Brady has played more Super Bowls than road playoff games.
That's even more ridiculous. Shows you how much they wrap up by home field advantage. Question 5. 2 quarterbacks have appeared in 4 playoff games, but never won one. Okay? One is YATL, who's an old one that we don't care about. Who is the other quarterback who is currently playing?
Always
Andy Dalton.
It is. 4 times in the playoff, knocked out 4 times. Which linebacker, which is still playing, holds the record for the most amount of tackles in his whole career in Super Bowl games? So, like all of the Super Bowls that they played in, he has the all-time tackling.
He's still playing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know linebackers, so I'm head on this one.
Jabril Sheard? No? Is it Sheard?
No, I know you're not about, but yeah, no. Right, it's in a team that is a divisional rival of young Andrew here. Does that help?
There's a linebacker on either the Rams, Seahawks or Niners.
I'm guessing Seahawks.
Right, got the team. Who's the guy?
Seahawks.
Bobby Wagner?
Bingo! There we go. This year, Bill Belichick will appear in what number Super Bowl? So, like, how many games in total has he been in the Super Bowl?
As a head coach or as a coordinator?
Everything. Yes,
right.
Including his coordinators as well. So.
God.
May as well guess, it doesn't matter.
Am I right in saying he's got 6 rings?
He
has got 7 rings now?
Oh, he's got
Did he have 2 at the Giants?
I think he had some prior. Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but I don't actually know because I don't have the list. I've just
so he's
got
got
the number of total
8 appearances with the Patriots now.
Yeah. Could be something like that.
So that's got to be at least 9? So to date it's 8, I think.
Oh, I think this one might include this year's as well, but
I'm going to guess 12.
Boom! 12! What were you thinking? Were you going to end up...
I was at 11.
11, aye. But were you not including this year then? So then this year would have been 12.
Maybe.
Do you think we have to do this at the start? Do you think we have to do this at the start of every podcast to prove to listeners that we actually know a little bit about what we're talking about?
Well, it helps me get a bit more focused. Mess up the intro every time. Anyway.
How many questions have we done?
Last one. This is the last one. Yeah, it's nice and quick. So, what age was Ben Roethlisberger when he won his first Super Bowl? That also is the youngest person to ever do it, as a quarterback.
It was in his second season.
Mm-hmm.
And that would make him about, it's either 22 or 23. I'm going to say, I don't know, 23.
Boom! 23 years old.
And it was in Detroit.
Well done. Whoa! I don't even have that in my brain. Outstanding. Well done.
Because it was, what was his, I watched a football live with the Bus. What was his name?
The Bus? Jerome Bettis.
Yes. He was brought up in Detroit, and that was his last game.
Yes,
so he retired after that game. He was going to retire. He was going to retire after the season before.
Yes.
They got to. Did they lose in the Super Bowl or did they lose in the championship game? And Roethlisberger said to him that we'll get you a Super Bowl ring next year. And he did go the whole way.
Yeah.
He won the Super Bowl in the town that he was brought up in. So
that's pretty cool. I like that. I like little stories like that. Interestingly, though, actually, not that I wrote it down, the Roethlisberger in that same game also holds the career worst quarterback rating for a quarterback in a Super Bowl. That was like 22 or something like that.
Wow.
So basically, I think they basically just ran the game and defense the hell out of it, and then it didn't matter so much that he was just the young gunslinger back then, trying his best not to mess it up. I think, but anyway, so quick aside. Hope everyone was playing along at home. Yeah. 5 minutes. Maybe.
Okay, cool.
On to last weekend's games then. So it was Championship weekend. 4 were in the hunt.
The cream
now
hunt.
Only 2 remain. The Kareem hunt. What a hunt. Let's just, we're going to go through them chronological. We'll start with what was the first game on, and that was Rams at Saints.
So Rams 26, Saints 23.
Mm-hmm.
2 big points in this.
Ooh, well, one major one.
One major one right then. But actually, like the Saints were praised last week so much on their fake punt, the Rams ran a fake punt in this game as well, which was hugely important. Johnny Hecker completed a pass for 12 yards to get their first down.
At a time where if they didn't get that, it was, Saints were about to absolutely be blowing them out. It was going to be the most one-sided championship level game I've seen in a long while.
Yeah.
At that point, if they hadn't got away with
Changed the momentum of the game at that point.
It did, and these special teams, isn't it?
Just before we came on air, we spoke briefly about how important they are. When you get it right, they're worth their weight in gold, and Johnny Hecker's clearly worth his weight in gold. He's probably the best punter in the league.
Probably. I love him as a personality as well. I think he's awesome.
Yeah, I think he was a quarterback in high school as well. So I think
he was, yeah. So obviously there's a big difference between the NFL and high school.
Of course.
But
it gives you a basic understanding.
Yeah,
of mechanics.
I think that the mechanics are probably the most similar thing. It's when you get up to the top, it's actually all in the head, isn't it? As to whether you succeed or not. So he's got the mechanics of how to throw the ball. And yeah, not that it was a particularly difficult pass. It was a nice, easy one.
Well, actually, they actually said when they reviewed it, the route that the guy ran wasn't easy. It was just that.
Oh, he ran the route very well, but the pass itself, the actual
it was so open that
it was
that's what they were saying. It wasn't an easy route that the guy ran, but the Saints made it look easy because of how much they fell for the punt.
Yes, definitely.
So I think the Rams special teams coach. I can't remember his name, but I know that his nickname is Bones.
Yes, the guy who took over as interim before McVeigh came in, didn't he, after they sacked Fisher?
He was awesome in... why can I never remember the name of that programme?
He was awesome in All or Nothing, you're right.
He was awesome. He just seemed like an all-round good guy, and he's been with the Rams for years, so it was really good to see that come off. And I think everybody loves a fake punt and loves a... Yeah. There's just something about them that they're like, yes!
It was ballsy, but it was ballsy as hell.
I think it was like 4th and 5, maybe 4th and 6.
Something like that, yeah.
It wasn't straightforward, similar to the way that the Saints done it last week. So
and pinned back quite far.
Yeah. I think it was like they would have been in their own 30 or something like that.
So it was very similar to the Saints last week. They were deep in their own territory, albeit the Saints was a short one, which is why they were able to just bowl over the line last week. But this was a bit of a longer one, so they went with the pass. The guy ran his route very well, made it seem to the Saints guy covering him that he was going to go deep and defend the punt, but no, he just stopped, turned back, and was excellent.
I think as well, credit to the full Rams coaching staff to have the balls to do that. I think they realised the moment that how important it was to have a positive momentum shift, and at that point in the game. So I think to have the balls to make that decision, credit.
Talking about Rams coaching staff, well, we just do a quick aside into that amazing video of McVeigh's minder. Please, if you haven't seen this on Twitter, you'll find it on our page, so you get on there straight away. But if not, most of you probably will have seen this now. This is amazing.
So
I genuinely thought it was a joke to begin with.
So the guy's genuine job title is Rams Get Back Coach.
Unbelievable.
He shadows McVeigh up and down the sideline and pulls him out of the way of running zebras.
That's awesome.
But you see, it's the whole fact McVeigh is totally unaware. He's so focused on what's going on. He's so G'd in to the plays in the game and thinking of whatever. He's got no idea that a referee is running next to him or that he's crept forward onto the pitch. Literally, this guy just grabs him by the hips and just yanks him back or yanks him to the side.
It's awesome. See, when I seen it, you know what? There's definitely the funny side of it, but see the same point. It's awesome. It's the level of detail that is to know that is
you need
your
somebody
flaw.
to do that. Yeah.
You need that to do it. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Getting a flag against your team.
It is so ridiculous. But see, when you actually see the clip, there's times when McVeigh is actually on the pitch. He needs pulled back. So you want, if he was left to his free reign, where would he be?
I'd be like, he'd be playing the quarterback at the 20-yard line.
He'd be the fullback.
Oh man!
Screaming at Jared on the field. So that was awesome.
So yes, anyway.
So through what happened through the actual game, I suppose big talking point in terms of the Rams, Todd Gurley, 4 carries for 10 yards, 1 touchdown.
Right. So it has come out that he was not injured.
He was not injured.
Hey.
There was 2.
So has it come out? Has anyone actually come out and said no? It was a scheme decision. We decided that it wasn't working.
Todd Gurley came out and said, "I was playing sorry." Whatever that means.
Yeah, there was a couple of things that he said.
Bad.
No,
I'm assuming.
I presume so.
Okay, right.
There was 2 things about that came out. So you're right. Gurley did say he was playing sorry, and that he was sorry to his teammates.
Yeah.
It was just a weird...
It was a weird statement.
But what Sean McVay actually said was that CJ Anderson was having such a good game, doing what they needed him to do. Maybe not in terms of the stats, but his run...
Yeah, he was
16
carries for 44 yards, so his stats line didn't look brilliant. But
it was more his ability to pass block, all that sort of stuff that Gurley's not as good at, because they described CJ Anderson as a bowling ball. So CJ Anderson was doing what Todd Gurley can't do, or wasn't as good as doing. So it was more
because they were having to play catch up and they had to throw it a bit.
So CJ Anderson was in the game more.
So because we talked about this earlier in the week, and it was very much. I was thinking, was it McVay was so smart he realised Gurley was getting taken out of the game super early, as in. He realised Saints had schemed to take him out of it, and he just adjusted within the first sort of 10 minutes.
I think you did see that.
Right, let's partly shut him down, because then they're going to have to change. The Saints are going to have to change.
Or did they think that he just covered his hands in butter before going? What were those drops about?
The second one for the interception was awful.
Yeah.
awful. I mean, awful. It literally, he just had to close his hands together.
Yeah.
And he had the ball. He just,
it was by no means a bad pass.
Neither of them were bad passes.
Yeah,
they were both regulation catches that he should have taken out.
And would have got the first 6 weeks of the year when he was absolutely tearing it up. He was taking them all the way to the house. You know that if he was playing at that level, for whatever reason, just didn't quite work.
So whilst we're still speaking about the Rams, just a couple other things I thought worth mentioning was their defense was outstanding. I thought throughout this whole game, they started really slow.
Yep.
But it could have been so much worse if it wasn't for their defence. I think this is Ndamukong Suh stepped up.
He dominated the end of the game. I didn't feel he was.
It took them a while to get
much
going.
to begin with, but he was obviously part of them holding the 2 field goals in the first 2 drives.
Yes.
Particularly after the interception. How pivotal that
was
by
the game.
End of the game.
If one of them had gone into the end zone, Saints would have won this game.
Yeah, we had a conversation about that, and I think so. Suh had an excellent game. Did
Again,
take it.
So that's 2 playoffs and 2 big time. He's all in on his next contract. He is loving it.
Yeah.
What better way to do it? What better way to do it than win a Super Bowl ring?
Yeah. Just going to swag on through the regular seasons. Going to get a playoff and I'm going to turn it up 10 degrees. Boom.
And the other thing, I think Dante Fowler had a pretty good game as well. I can't remember his stats, so I could look at them really quickly, but I'm not going to.
No, it was. He was really pivotal at the very, very end.
The interception all came from him, didn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of the Saints, interesting. Drew Brees, 26 for 40, 249 yards.
He didn't have a good game.
2 touchdowns, that interception. One actual interesting stat from the whole year. He found his 15th different receiver in the end zone. Oof.
Yeah, that was.
Surely that must be your record.
No, Taysom Hill.
No,
it wasn't Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill was Garrett or something like
Garrett
that.
Griffin.
I thought Garrett Griffin was the 14th and Hill was the 15th receiving touchdown.
Oh, was it?
Oh, maybe it was
because it was. He's found 15 different receivers for passing touchdowns.
Okay, because Hill might have been a.
I think he's got rushing touchdowns.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was his first receiving one, but 15 different players taking a touchdown pass from him this season, which is
that's a hell of a roster turnover as well. There's obviously people that they must have had it early in the season that aren't there anymore, either hit IR or have dropped out.
It also shows the Garrett Griffin one shows that it doesn't matter where you come from. If you're on the field, there's every chance Peyton's going to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so, he's scheming everyone in,
which is great. But I think I didn't think Brees played well though. I think there was a lot of passes that he overshot, underthrew. It just looked like it didn't look like the Drew Brees that you're used to seeing. It did look like he was shaky, jittery. I don't understand why.
Was it a bit of a small hangover from last weekend? Do you think the combination of the way they played and the euphoria of winning at the Dome and thinking, right, we might go all the way here, and then also his wife had tabled that birthday party for him straight after the game as well last Sunday. Do you think it was almost too much of a peak and they came crashing down and I don't know, I thought, throwing it out there.
But in the end it all came down to one call on the officials.
Before we go to that though, one other thing just on the Saints, and this is probably a negative, so it probably should have been about the Rams, but the running game was awful. Kamara and Ingram done nothing. Yeah,
so Kamara was 9 carries for 31. Ingram was 9 carries for 31 yards. Kamara 8 for 15. Absolutely
Kamara
nothing.
had a lot of receiving yards.
Yeah, so Kamara
overall his game was good.
He was at 11 receptions for 96 yards from 13 targets.
And
that's only like 2 yards a carry between the
1.9 yards per carry.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I think it was just, and again, I think that goes back to Wade Phillips and what he was able to scheme against the Saints to stop them getting in a rhythm, because when Kamara and Ingram get going, it's almost impossible to stop them.
Which is where I was kind of making that weird point last week when we were saying, we were doing the quarterback head coach combo, and I was like, how do you value the rest of that team? Because Wade Phillips could be worth more depending on the situation. It's a weird one. It's really difficult, and it's an interesting debate you'll always get into. But you just said it there, Wade Phillips basically. Wade Phillips won the game.
Well, I suppose the cliche, the overused cliche in the NFL is that offense is win your games, defense is win your championships.
Yeah.
at this time of year,
actually.
Wade Phillips is worth his weight in gold.
Absolutely.
Worth his considerable weight in gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wade, son of bum. It's brilliant.
Right.
Please, one final thing, because I really wish I said this as well. Last week we ranked.
See if you have notes, you'd maybe remember saying
I know.
Gav takeover show.
It's a hostile takeover. Last week we ranked Jared Goff 4th out of all these quarterbacks. I'm not saying he's moved up in that scale, but I think his overall, where we had him in our overall quarterbacks, I think for me he's moved up. I think.
Nah, not for me.
I don't know. He had a good game. This gets the whole playoff thing. You know, that little bit of playoff experience. He can kind of calm down a bit now. It's like, right, you know, I've got 2 games now. I've had 2 wins. I've had a home win and a road win, which is, you know, you've got both sides. So that I think will help him in the Super Bowl. It won't be quite so mental for him.
The reason that I'm moving him up is the environment that he was in. It was proper hostile.
Yeah.
His helmet wasn't working in the first quarter, so he couldn't hear McVay, and he was able to overcome those adversities. Yeah. So it was more about the change in his character.
Yeah, but how did he do in the first quarter?
But my point is that
it was only when McVay was back in that he actually started to play.
The point is though that he was able to overcome that mentally and still perform. He had less than 300 yards against the Saints defense.
But you just basically saying he could have completely crumbled.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
So his character
was fluttering. He was, you know, they went 3 and out and 3 and out, but that wasn't really all on him. But I know what you mean. Yes.
It just reinforces the point for me that he needs McVay to do all this thinking.
You could look at that. But I just think it's
eventually that'll be something
he's what,
he
third
will
year?
learn because he is still.
Well, you would.
Yeah, but
still,
you can write off.
He's second year starter. It might come. Would I be shocked if in 5 years' time the Rams have got someone else at quarterback? No.
Okay.
I disagree.
But
anyway, that's a debate for a different day.
I think it's very akin to the Wentz conversation that you had last week.
I think the difference with Goff and Wentz is Goff has played a full season, Carson Wentz hasn't. That's That's my
but you were quite happy to toss Wentz to the side and stick with Foles. You know, so that's I think where Andrew's coming from. The same sort of point.
Anyway,
a few years from
now let's get to
let's talk about the
smash.
No call.
The no call.
The helmet to helmet, lay the boy out flat.
We're not going to talk about the face mask.
What face mask?
Did you not see it? The face mask on Jared Goff? I'm kidding on, fuck's sake.
Swear jar. We're going to get a swear jar now.
Put my Eli Apple in it.
Your Eli Apple. Listen, did you finish crunching that before we recorded? Or is it going to be crunches?
No, it was done. It was done. So this call.
Yeah, the no call. It was pretty brutal. It was
as clear.
Stevie Wonder could have called it.
Yeah, he could have.
Was it the Bird Box Challenge?
Yeah.
Someone sent there with blindfolds. There was also a meme that went out, like, with pointing out all the referees, and it was like, lives in LA, LA fan, used to play for the Browns. Just taking the mic, but yeah, it was pretty bad.
If the officials call that correctly, Saints have a first down.
Yep.
They
within 5 yards?
2 minutes to go. Just watching a replay. Alright, the face mask on Jared Goff. Nah, get that.
Okay. Gav trying to make his point.
Hostile takeover.
You've totally lost your train of thought.
I totally
have. In the zone.
Right.
In the zone.
The Saints would have been able to basically take a knee for 2 downs to run the clock down to nothing.
They were already ahead at this point?
They were tied.
They were tied up.
Right,
okay,
yeah, it would have been. The Saints would have went 26.
Was that a minute?
It would
41.
No, it was 20 each, so they'd gone 20.
Yeah, sorry.
Because what happened was they then had to kick the field goal, which left the Rams
with time on the clock,
and a timeout.
Correct.
And they were able to go up, and Johnny Hecker made huge field goal.
Yeah.
Greg
Zerline, of course.
We knew you meant. So did our listeners as well.
Yeah.
On the
made 57-yard field goal to tie
I thought it was
up.
the one in overtime. Was it the one before?
It was over.
The overtime one was
40 yeah, I thought it was the overtime one was the...
Zerline went back-to-back field goals.
I thought was the big one first or was the big one second?
Big one was second.
Right, okay. So it was a 40-odd jab.
But it was still decent. It was clutch.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You had to... so much pressure in that moment for him having to nail that just to keep them in it.
And then he made the massive one in overtime to win it.
Yeah.
After Breeze had thrown... No, before Breeze threw an interception.
Yes.
No, after.
Yeah. That's where they fell down and caught it.
Yeah. So Saints had the ball first in overtime. So if they'd marched down the field, scored a touchdown, wouldn't have mattered. Rams defense held them, pushed that. Donnie Fowler came off the edge, pushed Breeze threw it, and it landed in the arms of whoever it was.
Whoever it was lying on the ground.
He was literally...
He'd already kind of wrestled his guy and fallen backwards. And
then the ball just appeared.
Imagine that.
That was like a hallelujah moment, wasn't it?
Because you could probably see the Mercedes-Benz sign on the roof, and you're probably sitting there and there's lights are beaming and the crowd's booming, and you can slow-mo the balls coming in going, this is my moment. This is going to earn me $2 million. Boom! Yes, got it. He's getting his contract.
And the Rams advanced to the Super Bowl. There you
go.
Woohoo.
So that was the way more controversial game. Then we moved into the AFC one, which come on, right? I'm going to be very neutral and sensible about this. The Patriots did win, and they won well.
It was an excellent game.
They played brilliantly,
and if the Chiefs had someone of the stature of Wade Phillips on their
or any other
staff,
defensive coordinator,
they would have won this game.
No, but I think one of the things, so we may as well talk about it. So Bob Sutton's been let go. The Chiefs are great at takeaways, awful at everything else. That's basically their stat line.
So
this game also went to overtime.
Yes.
37-31 Patriots won it. They got a touchdown, having got the ball first. 3 times on that touchdown drive.
3rd and 10?
The Patriots were 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
And converted with simple passes over the top. Once to Gronk, twice to Edelman.
That's the ones where Romo was calling it, like, before it happened and stuff.
But it was so obvious.
I know.
And
but there was no adjustment from the coordinator. They
just failed to stop it.
Yeah. I think it literally could be just that series on its own that's cost Bob Sutton. I think had he got away with that, it doesn't matter how the result would have gone. I almost feel it was that moment itself was just, at that point the organisation was like, we've lost this and it's his fault.
Yeah, I think so.
Because if you flip it around to actually how the game was played, I mean, I only watched the condensed highlights because, god damn it, my recording didn't work. I was so raging when I went to sit and watch this, but never mind. They had forced the interception, the red zone interception from Brady early-ish in the game. They also had some pretty good pressure through the middle, so the front 7 were playing alright. Somebody else force a fumble or a turnover?
There was 2 interceptions for Brady.
Two interceptions, aye.
Later on,
you know what I mean? So yeah, I know you said like they can cause lots of turnovers but don't do much else on that. But they did give their offense an extra couple of chances to march down the field. Mahomes threw some absolute ridiculous passes yet again.
It was awesome.
So I don't think the offense had much to blame. They still put up 31 points?
They put up 31 points, but
it was second half.
Nothing in the first half.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
So they were 14-0 down at half time.
Does that go back to what we were saying last week though about Belichick and scheme and how he's just such a mastermind? You can't see him not waltzing into Kansas City and wrecking them.
There's also though it's Mahomes' first championship game. The nerves maybe get to him a little bit. I think they did at the start.
Down,
you look at the run game as well. Williams, who's been outstanding for a few weeks, 10 carries for 30 yards, so they got nothing there.
I think that was down to, I think the run game is like a security blanket for a quarterback.
Yes.
So I think Belichick stopped that.
Yeah.
And he made Mahomes have to make these spectacular throws, which he's capable of. But by removing that, it puts more and more pressure on Mahomes to get things going. So you're right, I think the nerves did get to him.
The offense really didn't do for the Chiefs. They didn't get Hill in the game enough. 1 reception for 42 yards.
And that one pass was awesome. I don't know if you seen it.
It was incredible. But that was all he did. There was nothing else. And
did you see the thing though, what the Patriots done? They put a guy, their corner that they had on Hill, he's not the starting corner, but he's their fastest corner. He ran a 4.40. So what they basically tried to do was
match him up on pace.
Don't worry about the route.
Yeah, as long as you can stick with them, you've got at least a chance of batting the ball.
That's what they've done.
Yeah, that makes Because how many times into the regular season had someone not done that, and Hill just made an absolute mockery of them,
And that's what happened on his one reception. It was a 42-yard reception. He just blazed over the top, and Mahomes found it.
Mm-hmm.
Watkins was the big yardage leader for them, 114 yards, but only from 4 receptions.
50
there was one big one.
I love the arc on that from Mahomes, went straight over the cornerback or safety, whoever was marking. It was like Watkins would have got it, and the safety had no chance. It was just such a perfect loop over. It's amazing.
But as so often at this time of year, it comes down to the run game. As I said there, Williams 10 for 30. Compare that to
Sonny
Michel, 29 carries for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rex Burkhead, 12 carries, 41 yards, 2 touchdowns as well.
Just looking at their averages weren't great.
No.
3.9 and 3.4.
But
it was consistent. It was
that's
what
the
they
thing.
did on third down.
Well, even
Michelle
on
had
average,
four third down conversions early in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's more about how they used it rather than what they got.
Mm-hmm.
Even on average, either of those you hand on the ball 3 times and they're getting your first down.
Yeah.
They were moving the chains effectively.
Yep.
Edelman, 7 receptions for 96
Edelman was
yards.
awesome in this game.
Used both called this last week and said that this is exactly what's going to happen. They're going to march into their defense, is going to shut them down. They're going to totally run game them out of next week, and so they called it. Shouldn't really be surprised as much as you didn't want it to happen.
The fourth quarter of this game was possibly the best quarter of football in the season.
Is that 38
just
points?
gung-ho.
It was awesome,
That's
so
crazy.
24 points for the Chiefs, 14 for the Patriots.
How much happened in that last 2 minutes was outstanding as well.
I think I put in the group chat as well, just on the last quarter, about the guy that was on Sky that was saying Damien Williams isn't good enough for the Chiefs.
Yes, that was the guy that the New England journalist from New England that Sky occasionally talked to. And
he averaged 100 yards all over. Was it passing and receiving, and he got 2 touchdowns? I think he's good enough.
But his comment was more on his running. And
his running's still good. I think this
he
game,
only got 30 yards in this game, and I think that was the point he was making. That he didn't rate him for this game, and I suppose that rang true.
No, I think there's more to it than that, though. I think if you look at what happened on a defensive side of the game, you can't run the ball as much or as effectively when you're chasing the game.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think they were 14 points down at half time. The run game's gone.
Yeah.
They had to gunsling it. So I think there's more to it than just looking at it on a raw numbers.
Yeah, I can take that point.
Mm-hmm. So it leads us to a disgusting Bill Belichick Super Bowl again with Tom Brady.
Yeah, let's not talk about the Super Bowl today. We'll do a preview episode next week.
Yeah. We'll settle on that. But anyway, that was the end of the championship games, and done for another year. Pro Bowl rosters then obviously got decimated and re-upped and whatnot.
Yep.
That's probably about as much as we'll talk about this.
Who were the 2 teams
games
last year that didn't? That originally they didn't have. So the Raiders didn't have someone, and was it the
Bucks? Don't have anyone.
Bucks,
sure.
possibly.
I think it was 3 teams.
So 3. But anyway, the Raiders now do have someone appearing. Jared Cook got in at tight end.
He's alright.
As an alternate.
Yeah.
I didn't see if any of the others did or not.
Nobody cares about the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, genuinely.
Well, actually, I might watch it because she said that it's on. Because it's in Orlando, it's a good time. It's about 7 or maybe 8 o'clock.
Something like that.
So
but it's still nonsense.
Yeah. So I might
Nobody
watch
tackles.
just for some fun.
It's just just passing, loads of passing.
Yeah, well, there's different rules in the Pro Bowl. The defenses can't do some of the stuff they can do.
It's just a waste of time. Why not just say these are all the people that we recognise?
It's just a bit of fun. It's meant to be. It used to be the end of season part. It used to always be the week after the Super Bowl,
which makes more sense, I think.
Yeah, so it was almost like, and it was always in Hawaii, so it was a bit of R&R time for the players. All their wives went out. The fans that did want to travel out there got a bit of a fun week. This holiday. I was always up for doing the Pro Bowl. I thought when it was in Hawaii, I thought it would have been awesome. Price up once, £1,400. I thought for a week. Yeah, it's not too horrific. I might do that.
It's not as bad as we expect.
Yeah, that was probably about 7 years ago now. So inflation will have smashed that in a level that I probably can't afford anymore. But never mind. But yeah, so the Pro Bowl is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's as much as you're getting from us as Rumble.
Right, on to the London games. Well, the international series as a whole was announced. 4 games in London, 1 in Mexico.
The Mexico one was the most predictable one because it's
You
what
called it, yep.
we called, or what I called when we talked about the
So
international
when they
games 2
announced
weeks ago.
5 teams that were going to be hosting games. In
So the 2 LA teams, the Raiders, the Bucks, and
Jags.
the Jags, obviously.
Yeah.
So for me, it was plainly obvious that as the Chargers were in London last year, they would go to Mexico,
Yep.
and as the Chiefs were meant to be in Mexico this year, but it got postponed and moved back to LA, and they're a divisional rival of the Chiefs, of the Chargers, they
Makes
would go
sense.
and play the Chargers in Mexico. Lo and behold, they have.
Yep.
The other ones, actually some decent games in there, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
you've
we'll
got-
go through them one at a time quickly then. So Bengals at Rams. So out of all 4, I reckon this is the most one-sided.
Fun thing could be though is Zach Taylor could be their head
Yes.
coach.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would be
Zach
juicy.
Taylor
you know, racing
versus
against your old team
Sean
kind of
McVay.
story thing.
So that could be fun.
So it could be fun from that point of view. Yeah. And obviously, off-season and draft does cause a
Yeah.
bit of havoc. But if you were
Off-season draft, new head coach. You saw the transition from the
Bears.
Rams when McVay
Yeah,
appeared.
yeah.
The Bengals
the
could be a
same
force
happen.
next year. You don't know.
yeah, he could make Mixon work. Not
Mixon.
saying Gurley level, but you could get another bit out of Mixon.
Yeah.
The
No, I
goal
think-
line's quite decent. If you fix Dalton, not that he's really broken, but because he's the bang average in quarterback, and everyone talks about the Dalton scale. If you give him a few tools that makes him a little bit above average, just
I think you
difference.
want to try and focus on fixing John Ross, and the reason behind that is he can be your Tyreek Hill.
And blow the field out. Yeah.
He keeps
Get
everybody
him
else
sorted.
honest, keeps everybody else on
Yeah.
their toes,
Yeah.
makes room for everyone else. If you can get him what everyone thought he
And
could
then
be,
get rid of Vontae's Burfitt because he never plays.
Oh
the
my
whole
God, I love
season Anyway.
make him your team captain.
Next one.
So that Bears at Raiders,
Return up the Mac.
which I totally
Love
didn't
it.
even notice until the 2 you said that to me. I was like, oh my god, it's amazing.
It's awesome.
What a story.
John Gruden in London with all his draft picks that he's going to have this year.
Yep.
John Gruden, who hates flying, so he's going to swim.
He's actually already left.
It's going to be. I'm quite looking forward
That'll
to
be
that
good.
one. I think that could be
Yep.
a good one. I hope we get that at 2:30 our time.
Yeah,
a
a good
time
game.
one rather than an evening one. But
I'm trying to think what time. Well, the Raiders are that side, so that'll be a 6 o'clock game at earliest.
probably.
Because they
It
don't
is.
tend to make the...
Yeah, you're
Way
right.
earlier because there's too much havoc on
Yeah.
their body clock. That's a
Yeah.
hell of a move for West Coast rather than
Yep.
You've got Texans at Jags,
No,
so
that's-
divisional.
I find it a little bit boring though.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of the closest team I have, I suppose, is the Texans. So I think that's for a win from that
Two
point.
divisional games in London, actually.
Yes, yeah. Oh God, there's
So
3
come on,
international divisions. I thought it was only the 2 because the last one's Panthers at the Bucks. That's
Yes.
divisional as well. Wow, they put 3 divisionals in the national series. That's a bit of a ballsy move. Ooh, interesting.
Like it.
So do you know what?
Panthers,
I'm
Bucks,
I'm gonna throw it out. I think I fancy the cheeky Bucks win there.
Bruce Arians.
I think
Yeah, well,
it's
Depends
all
on who it does.
speculation, and he is a toots anyway. But
in terms of head coaches at risk next year,
We spoke about this, didn't we?
well, not the Panthers, we didn't, but I think he could be at risk next year.
I thought I'd put
Ron
that-
Rivera.
Yeah, I thought I'd
Segue
put
that in. Yeah, let's just great. The coaches then. Yeah. So we had a wee bit of a blather earlier in the week about coaches that survived that maybe could have got punted this year.
Yeah, so for me, there was 2 clear candidates of coaches that are probably lucky to still be in a job. Doug Marrone.
Yep.
At the
So he was the
Jags.
obvious one. Jed Khan had come out before the season had
Yep.
finished and
Yeah.
say, "Don't worry, we're giving him another year." Whether it's
don't worry. Is that the right word you should have used? Please worry. We're giving him another year.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's right. So Mad Cat, I love him. Right, I think he's brilliant. Some of the stuff he's done with the stadium, the idea he's got.
Oh, Can's
making
awesome.
The international series, what he's done for the Jacksonville area, the cabana, the poolside cabanas in the stadium, the biggest scoreboards along the end zone. Some of the mental stuff he's done is brilliant.
He's put his money where his mouth is.
Absolutely. And I think he knows, right down in his heart of hearts, that Blake Bortles is the issue. And he's going to give Marrone another chance because of what he did last year. Because he got them all the way to the championship game and they got unlucky, but they have enough other pieces that if they get a serviceable quarterback, they should be right in the mix. So I think that's why he feels he can give Marone one more year. Had they not got anywhere near, had they maybe been one and done in the playoffs, he was gone this year, no questions asked. I think because he got to the championship game, that's what's given him that 1 year extension. He's all or nothing this year though, so that makes that quite easy for when you look forward. So he was the obvious one.
The other guy who I think is lucky
Got
to
away
be
with it, yep.
in a job at the moment because he's overseen recently a period of gradual decline in one of the game's powerhouses. It's Mike Tomlin at the Steelers.
Not just decline though, the complete, I don't know the word to use, meltdown. Thanks, I was going to swear.
Hey,
capitulation.
Wordage.
The Lev Bell situation, the Antonio Brown situation.
Now the Lev Bell situation isn't all on him. That's obviously on.
No, there's more to it, but
he's part of it. Could have tried to smooth it somehow.
He could have made a decision to go one way or the other.
Yeah,
he left it
dangling carrots and whatever.
And there just seems to be...
They're falling apart.
There is. Big Ben, they need to move on from him. They really do. I think not just because he's declining as a player. I think his personality, from the outside, his personality appears toxic for that organisation.
I agree.
So...
Tomlin's too loyal to him.
Yeah.
Pardon me, sorry. That microphone didn't pick that up. According to... At least it wasn't the fart. I forgot I'd done that. Right, what? Tomlin, Steelers. Right, yeah. So looking at it from an organisational point of view. So, Steelers have the least amount of head coach changes. They have gone through a period of some ridiculous, 50 or 60 years on just 3 coaches alone. It's mental. So they are notoriously, they will give someone a really long time before they decide to move on. So for Dan Rooney's point of view, he's probably sitting there thinking, right, I want Tomlin to mould the next quarterback and the next era that comes in through my organisation before I decide whether I move on him from not. So I actually think he's got a lot more, unless, there's always a caveat on that, because if he flames out and goes 1-15 this next season, bye-bye. There's no questions asked anyway, because you wouldn't then stick on to him to then flip it on Roethlisberger and bring someone else in. But if he's battling there towards the end, if he gets in the playoffs and he's one and done, do you know what? He's still going to keep going. The Roonies are still going to keep him in there.
Question. Hot take question. Who finishes higher next year? Browns or the Steelers?
Browns.
I don't think it's as simple as a shout. I think it's tight.
Yeah.
I think on the trajectory that they're on through the end of this season and where those organisations look to be headed, the Browns look like they are a playoff team in waiting.
Yeah.
They lost Greg Williams though.
They did, and the big unknown here is Freddie Kitchens and what he's going to do as head coach next year. Yeah. So that does make it tighter. But instinctively, from where they currently sit and where those teams look to be headed from over the last few months, the Browns finish higher next year.
I agree, but And
do you then think that the Ravens fall back a little bit then? Because that division is brutal.
It is.
Because I think you're going to have the Bengals bouncing back a little bit next season as well. So you've got 4 really, really good teams.
500 gets you that. Other. In above 5, obviously in above 500 gets you, but I think something around about 500.
I know what you mean. It's not going to be the Patriots dominating a division yet again, sort of thing. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that falls down.
The 4 teams will probably be all.
I can't wait to see how they predict that. I
would not be surprised to see the Steelers finish bottom of that division.
Or top at the same breath.
Time, exactly.
We had a couple of divisions like that. So was it the AFC South where one of us had we had Titans and
it was the Titans.
And you had the Titans winning it.
Yeah.
So we couldn't call it because we thought all 4 were very close.
Yep.
The AFC North very much is going to be that next year. Yep. I think we're all going to be all over the place when it comes to that. Couple of outside shouts for coaches that have got.
So 2 people I put in the chat was Ron Rivera. I think the Panthers look like they are regressing. They've not really done it in a couple of years now.
We mentioned it
There's
last
potential
week.
he's going to be handicapped next year as well.
Or maybe I didn't mention it last week. But yeah, but the whole Cam Newton shoulder injury and the fact that if it's it could be Andrew Luck level, i.e. he's sat the whole season. Does that give Rivera a little bit more rope?
Possibly.
Depends on what their strategy is. If they draft someone, maybe not.
If they stick with a bridge quarterback and he's battling to the end, he gets another year when he gets Cam back.
Yeah.
Yep, no, that makes sense.
I think one of the things that's probably hamstrung the Panthers is 2 years in a row they've lost their defensive coordinators. They lost Steve Wilkes and Sean McDermott. 2 years in a row. So...
Where's McDermott gone?
Bills.
Yeah.
He's the Bills head coach.
Who did somebody not go back? Who's
Steve Wilkes is Steve
McDermott went 2 years ago. Wilkes then went last year.
Yeah.
He's now gone to the Browns as their defensive.
Oh, he's Browns. Right.
So it's more that's like obviously that's different schemes that the defensive players are having to learn continually. So that's not
they have
helped.
had to draft defense heavy the last couple of years as well. I think there's been a lot before that. I think they had a very good defense, but it was an aging defense, so they had to really turn that side of the ball quite quickly. So you've got a lot of first and second year rookies. I mean, did they not basically replace the entire secondary 2 years ago? Everyone was gone, and then it was like 4 rookies were in, and you're going to probably get growing pains with them as well. And if you're changing their scheme, to this will be a third year on the trot. Ugh.
And the real outside one that I thought of was maybe Mike Zimmer from the Vikings.
I get your shout.
The reason
I'm going to go. Well, discuss.
The reason that I think Mike Zimmer, and I know they were close to making the playoffs, but for so long everyone was talking about all they were missing was their quarterback.
I don't think it's that outside a shot, because there was murmurings when coaches were getting fired that he would resign.
Especially
in inverted commas.
He's setting down.
So
he's year 5, year 6 maybe now, but he did get to the championship game last year.
So if you put that into context,
I suppose by order of the Minnesota Miracle, is it not?
It was, but with Case Keenum at quarterback, and the context around that being that if you had someone that was the next level from Case Keenum, then you would go all the way.
The defense
regressed.
Quite a lot this year to last year,
and that has been the strength of their team.
Yeah, but is that not part of the reason why Zimmer was potentially on the
because he's a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, the fact that if they gave him everything to fix the offense, and by all accounts, you had Thielen that did the ridiculous 9 games in a row with 100 yards or whatever it was, just nonsense starts. Diggs was excellent 1-2 punch. Kirk actually wasn't that bad statistically. When you get his season, he had a lot of teams would take that. There's not many. I'm not getting into the usual quarterback ranking problem, but
where is Kirk Cousins and Steve rank?
Ahead of Winston, yes.
Ahead of Dalton.
Yes. Yeah. At the moment, yeah. I'm not going to say he's the answer, but he did far better.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I'm just throwing that in. I can't remember the numbers. It was like 4,000 yards.
He did have a good season.
He had 30 touchdowns and not that many interceptions.
Cousins' issue is always the mental side of it, not his capability.
Yeah. My outside pick next year for someone that might be at risk. Now, the last 2 years he's ended up with a top 10 pick, but being able to caveat that with first year being first year, second, losing Jimmy Garoppolo to an injury early on. If Jimmy G comes back next year and the Niners still end up with a top 10 pick, then Shanahan is potentially for the door.
It's a hot take. It's spicy.
I actually think regardless of what Jimmy G does next year, if they end up with another top 10 pick, then he's had 2 full seasons to try and shape a team. He's seen as one of the bright minds.
So there's more than just Garoppolo that's been injured for the Saints. The 49ers. They've had a lot of injuries.
They have.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I think he's at. Sorry.
I know where you're going with that. You've got.
I think he's maybe got 2 seasons. 2 seasons. If they're top 10 next year and they don't make a big step the year after, then I think you
to turn it around.
But I think he would be under extreme pressure.
Yeah.
It could be a Black Monday. Job.
Yeah.
But that's going 2 years down the line. I think next year, please God, let let Jay Gruden get sacked. Please God.
What were you saying about another 5 years of Jay Gruden show?
Oh my
what was
God.
that in the WhatsApp?
Well, so this stemmed from, obviously there was pictures came out yesterday
was
of...
this Kyle Murray might go to the Redskins?
No,
So the pictures came out yesterday of Alex Smith in his first public
that
appearance
was
since
it.
the leg break.
Oh my word.
His
brace has a brace.
His leg brace has a brace.
He is he is literal Legatron.
Yeah, what a shame. I mean, because that's a long while now.
He's done.
For any chance of him to be quarterback in this year, he should already be out of that cast.
He's
Possibly
done.
in a boot still, but probably out of the cast by now. When did he do it? End of October, start November time?
It was like week 7 or 8, something like
Yeah,
that.
he's in the middle of the season, so we're nearly 3 months after the event, and his brace still has a brace. I mean, it's screwed in and pinned in and everything.
I don't think he comes back.
No, his career is done.
Awful.
And I think it is a shame because I was actually really excited.
You were looking
about
forward to him.
Yeah.
And as much as you're always up and down on your Redskins, which is hilarious. It's one of the running themes I love on this show. Is you week to week, whether you're
basically whatever the result
I love
is.
Gruden, I love the Redskins. Everything's great. The next week it's like, God, I hate Gruden. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were totally excited on Smith, and it's a shame that's been taken from your team.
Smith and Darius Geis looked like it could be really good, and then
both
both
got
got injured. Redskins.
Roll on next.
So yeah, he's going to have the opportunity to build a team around a new quarterback.
Oh my God.
And he's going to get about 5 years to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So enjoy that.
I'll be completely white hair if that happens.
Yeah.
I'll be Philip Schofield. I've got some.
That's the tiniest of flashings.
I'll be Philip
Less
Schofield.
Not like me. I got white hairs coming out of my chin beard. I noticed the other day. I was like, whoa, where did that come from? The old man of the show. Never mind. So, on that
I'm
note,
26 and noticed a load of grey hairs. Depressing.
a stress. You've obviously had a stressful upbringing. That's what happens when you got kids and stuff, though, eh? So yeah, I think we'll call it a day on that. Number 31 is in the bag. Thanks again for listening, everybody.
Thanks at the usual place.
Yeah, at the AFCast. You've got this exit down. You've got this perfect wee flow going. I mess up everything, so there's nothing new there. So you get us Twitter at the AFCast. Can't even speak.
Fuck was that?
Secret Bucks fan.
I thought that was like a, like you see in these sort of like army type films, like hoo-ha!
G and myself, America, yeah. Right. So I'm going to nail this outro. No, I'm not. It's because it's Steve and I mess it up every time.
Old Strath.
Old Strath. You can get us at AFCast on Twitter.
Hoo-ha!
The American Fitbaw Cast on Facebook.
Hoo-ha!
The website is fcpod.net/AFcast. That's where you get all the old episodes. I've been fighting losing. I'm going to have to stop down.
And we'll see you next week for our Super Bowl preview.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.